Hola, come on in. Hey Alexis, how you doing? Um, so while y'all are coming in, I do want to let everyone know that I just posted two videos. I just posted my Love is Blind review and I just posted a video talking about that whole breakup with Tamar Braxton because y'all know I reviewed the show that she met her ex on, and so I decided to go ahead and talk about the breakup she just had. So make sure y'all check out those two videos that I just posted. Can't stay long because I have one. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I'm glad you peeked your head in, but I didn't even watch this season. It wasn't, you didn't miss too much, except for in the beginning. But hey Monica. Uh y'all, this season, like, I think I'm just gonna have to mention every single time, like, how Tommy isn't the best host and how he for sure has his favorites, and he's not good with like conflict, and when people are arguing, he's not good with um hashing it out and getting down to the nitty-gritty and the root of the issue and like presenting both sides. Like, he's just not good at holding people accountable. It seems like he just wants to be friends with everybody, and we need somebody that is going to lay it all out there and not be scared to do it. Girl, you have got to get on Married at First Sight UK. It's so good this season. Plus, it would bring in a new demographic. I should. I know I should, but it's like I be watching so much that I feel like if I add one more thing, it's just gonna be too much. I've been meaning to watch it. Has it started already? Like, I mean, well, how far is it into this season? Because I was planning on reviewing Married at First Sight, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just looking dry. And then they had like a Runaway Bride or something, which I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Love is, I mean, Married at First Sight, it feels like it jumped the shark a long time ago. But I have heard that the UK version is a lot better, but we'll see. We'll see. I do need, what channel does it come on? Does it come on Lifetime? Is it on the Lifetime app? Is what I should say. Because if it's somewhere where I'll have to like search for it, I don't know. That'll probably hinder me from talking about it more. But if it's like on Hulu, the UK one has been out for 3 weeks and it's 4 episodes a week. Dang. No, I got links. Oh my goodness. Well, just send me the links then. Do you have my email, right? You can send me the links to my email and I'll see it. I'll check it out. I'll at least check out a few episodes and see how it goes. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the review because I don't know, y'all. Like, I'm ready for all of this to be over. I started the season, so I was like, let me go ahead and just review the reunion. But by the end of this season, I was just so over it, and I just feel like, I don't know, these people are just too old to be acting like this. The show used to be a lot more mm, grown and sexy, and now it's just like real goofy, like just as goofy. Like, I've been watching a little bit of The Golden Bachelor, and in case y'all didn't know, it's sort of like, like the regular bachelor format of, a man, and they bring in a bunch of women in for him to date, but these people are like in their 60s and 70s, and it's funny because if you close your eyes, you would think that these were young people, like the way they talk about love. And I just want to fall in love again. And, I just, they're very youthful to be that age. And so it's intriguing in that way, but they're not catty. You know what I'm saying? Yes, they all want to date this man. Yes, they all want a chance, but it's not nasty and catty and backbiting. And, it's not all of that. And so that's kind of what this show used to have. And now it's like Ready to Fight, Love and Hip Hop, own network. Like, anyway, let's just go ahead and get started. So when the reunion picks back up, it's Tequila who is getting escorted out when it was Janelle that provoked Tequila, banged on the table, stood up, said, "Do you want to fight?" But Tequila was the one that was escorted out. And I just didn't understand why both of them weren't escorted out. I do think Tequila needs to stop taking the bait when it comes to Janelle. You shouldn't be that easily triggered into being ready to fight. But at the same time, we all see what Janelle is doing. She'll poke and poke and poke and then want to be like, "Oh, look at her acting like an animal," type of thing, when you know what you are doing. And then Sierra wants to act shocked and surprised when Tequila was like coming after her as well. But you are, one, you're sitting up under Janelle as if you're Gretchen Wieners to her Regina George, and you're making these passive aggressive jokes and laughing at all of what Janelle is saying. You're involving yourself when you do that. So she, I feel like she's someone who like passive aggressively pokes the bear, and it's easier for her to hide her hand and to hide behind Janelle, and because Janelle is just much more aggressive. But I see what you're doing as well. And Jessica does the same thing, but we got to see a little bit more of that side of her later on in this reunion. Yes, exactly. Janelle presents well, but she's just as wrong as Tequila. She is. Like, she is very well spoken. She's articulate. She is polished to the eye, right? But as soon as she gets mad, she turns into just as much of a gutter snipe as anybody else. Just as much as Tequila, if not worse. So yes, like I totally think they treated her differently. And low key, I kind of wish they would have let Tequila get to Janelle, because you keep talking about how you want to fight, and I didn't forget about you showing up to Kat's apartment ready to fight. Like, since you want to fight so bad, let her get to it one time and let's see if she can actually fight, because you keep provoking people. But anyway, so they get back to the reunion. They're talking about the retreat and talked about the little argument that Kat and Janelle had. Kat says that Janelle's words can be very belittling, and I'm going to add that the way she speaks to people is very condescending, and almost feels as though she feels she is superior to others. And Kat was like, other people will listen to her opinion, but whenever someone expresses their opinion and she doesn't agree, she gets all rah-rah and rude. And everybody pretty much in the back was agreeing. And so Q was trying to defend the indefensible with Janelle. He was trying his best to defend her, but you don't have a leg to stand on because Janelle is wrong. And so it's crazy to me that Tommy can address the name calling, because Kat did call her a B. She called her out of her name after they got into that argument. But how are you not going to call out the behavior that it was in response to? We got to start at the beginning. We got to start at the root of what happened. And it's like he was just completely brushing off, didn't even address Janelle's aggressive, combative behavior. Yes, it is combative. And trying to place all the blame on Kat for some reason. I didn't understand that at all. And Janelle, she feels like all of the women are obsessed with her. And she's 42 years old and she's been in rooms with extraordinary people, but have never felt insecure around them. And she says that her presence challenges their mediocrity. And I thought that was so nasty. Like, it was so ugly of her to say something like that. Just narcissistic as well. Like, what makes you better than the rest of the women in that room? And if anything, I remember when Kat first came in as the curveball or whatever, all of y'all were the ones who were acting funny towards her when she walked in the room and were turning y'all noses up to her. If anything, y'all were the ones who did that to Kat, but for you to try to flip that on her, I just thought it was completely delusional. It was delusional. It just doesn't make any sense. Tommy was so disappointing as a host, the way he picks and chooses who he wants to hold accountable. Exactly. It's very irritating and it's very obvious. So she claims that the women can never point out a specific instance of her being rude, and it's like they literally just played an instance. Like, yes, they do point out instances, you just don't want to hear it. She said everybody has a problem. She said that everybody that has a problem with her went home, and it's like, what does it have to do with anything? This is a competition dating reality show. So most, even one of your friends went home. So what does that have to do with anything? She said, and then she also said, if you were less worried about me, then you would have a man. Most of the men on this show proved themselves that they were not necessarily worth having. Like, you're placing them as a prize in this situation. And yes, that is the goal, but it's not like you're the ultimate failure because you couldn't be in a relationship with Herbert, or you couldn't snag Phil, or you couldn't get Morier. You know what I'm saying? Like, really? Are you really trying to say because I couldn't get in a relationship with one of these men that I'm the issue? And she told Kat that she didn't respect her because she wasn't respectable, and once again, that was just disgusting. And I don't know, the way Tommy handled that, he has like zero conflict resolution skills. It was just like embarrassing how he just allowed Janelle to belittle these women and act as if she was this perfect angel the entire season. I don't get it. So then they brought out Chris, and they rolled the footage of Chris saying that Jessica was combative. He still, even after they showed him saying it, he still didn't want to own it, and he tried to make it a he tried to play semantics and say that he said that the situations were combative, and he wasn't necessarily calling Jessica combative. And we all know that's BS. Like, none of us believe that. He ended up getting into like a back and forth with Morier over it, and he did end up apologizing for going off on her and cursing her out, because he was wrong for that. Like, the situation, even though we didn't see the full situation play out, we saw the edited version. I still, at the end of the day, don't believe she deserved to be spoken to in that way. You need to learn how to control your emotions. Just because somebody is triggering you, you still have power over how you react to it. And I feel like that was uncalled for. He was in his feelings, and but he said the reason why he did it because he was in his feelings and he felt she had no regard for him. Said she was a bully. Her and Janelle are bullies and are antagonistic to the women, and also ganged up on Tequila. And she was like, Jessica was like, well, I was quiet. You're doing the same thing that Sierra was doing. Yeah, you might not have said nothing in a combative way towards Tequila, but when Janelle was saying what she was saying, you were giggling, you were laughing, you were in cahoots. So yes, you are a part of that mean girl squad because you condone it as well and also encourage it. So that is why you get lumped in, because that's your friend, and we've never seen you check her and tell her she was wrong for any of that. So we don't want to hear it. And I do agree that she's a bully, but I think he's also using that as a scapegoat for his accountability, because Chris, you still was wrong. Um, but she was like, well, if I was so combative and I was all this and that, why did you continue to entertain Jessica? And he claims that, oh, she claimed that she told Tommy that before she went on the trip, she broke things off with Chris, and she looked over to Lee and Kat to confirm that she said that. And she's asking them, and they're just sitting there staring at her. And I don't understand why she looked to them to back her up or to have her back in this moment when you've been rude to them this whole time. So obviously they didn't take up for her, they didn't have her back. And she was like, oh, now they're mutes. And Kat was like, you're not my mama, I don't have to answer you just because you asked me a question. And Jessica was responding with like, sis, like, that's okay, sis. And she was like, I'm not your sis. And Jessica was like, you're right, because I don't deal with bees like you. And once again, like, you showing your catty nature. I have to be honest, I didn't really see Jessica combative with the men, but we definitely have seen you be combative with the women. We've seen you combative in the ladies' lounges. We've seen you combative on this stage. And maybe Chris was right. And, certain instances, maybe you weren't combative with him necessarily or with the men, but you do have that combative side of you, and you let that out on this reunion stage. And some tells me that you act more like Janelle than you want to let on. Kira was cheering on Chris going off on Jessica was not a good look. It wasn't. It wasn't. Like, I understand that these women were bullies to y'all or exhibited mean girl behavior and were nasty to you, but that doesn't mean we encourage misogyny and, men going off on women. I will never encourage that. I don't care how much I dislike somebody. But yeah, Kat feels like she is combative, and if you display that, then you will be called out on that. If I'm being combative, then let me know so I can fix that trait. And here comes Tommy. Let's all agree to disagree, but agree to speak to our sisters in a respectful way. And I'm just like, okay, so we're not gonna. It's good that you called out Chris and you called out his behavior, but we're not gonna call out Jessica's behavior and how her and Janelle be combative towards the women. Once again, Chris apologized, and Jessica was going to respond and say how she felt, but Chris overtalked her, and then Tommy just shut the entire thing down. And it's like, Tommy, we probably could have got some resolution in this situation had you not cut it off and just told Chris, let the woman speak for a second, let her get what she had to say off her chest. That could have been it, but you cut them off like they were kids, and there was no conflict resolution there. Once again, terrible at hosting reunions. Let's see. Oh Lord, we got so much more to go. So then we have Aries and Phil. They were seated on opposite couches, and people thought maybe they had like explosive issues. They don't. Aries has just been married twice, and I can understand why she is being selective and why she is being cautious when moving forward with someone like Chris. She says she wants stability above all else. And she was like, Phil doesn't like when I say that. And the women were like, who doesn't want stability? And I'm like, exactly. Like, he's being very nonchalant about it. And she even said it's not about having a job or being broke. You have dreams that you want to chase that do not guarantee that you'll be taken care of financially. And she doesn't feel like being that supportive girlfriend while you chase your dreams. And he just never truly reassured her about being solid financially. And, he said he has a full-time job, and Just this experience just sparked him to want to express himself creatively again, and that was that when it comes to that. And but he respects her decision. They're still cool to this day, yada yada. It just didn't work out. They just want different things in life, and that's okay. They had chemistry as far as you know, romantically, but when you when you have a real world application, it just didn't add up. And I like the way that they handled it. They didn't have to go out cursing each other out. They just amicably cut ties. So now let's move on to Kira. What I think that Kira did wrong was she confronted something. She brought something to the group and confronted Q about something that should have remained kitchen table talk. There are certain things you say at home to your spouse, to your girlfriends, to, you say those things behind closed doors that you would never say in public, and especially on a big stage like this, and especially without any proof. And I feel like that was one of those things that Kira did. Like, you can think in your mind or, whisper to your best friend that you think that Q only likes white girls, but unless you have like a history of him dating white girls or Hispanic girls, then you can't really put that on someone. And I know we as Black women, we all know those Black men that are anti-Black and only like white women, don't like anything don't even like anything my skin tone. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know those men. And I don't know, I just didn't necessarily get that from Quinton with the whole white women thing, but okay. Um but it's crazy because she seems like the type to only date white men. So it felt like projection. But anyway, she said she felt attacked by Morier because Morier he's a hotep. He said he's a part of the small community of Black consciousness, and that tells me I think he's a hotep. But he said that basically she's not Black enough to bring in his circle. And what I think he was trying to say, that he kind of did say in a jacked up way, is that they're not compatible in that way. And girl, you didn't miss nothing with Morier. So I don't know why she got so far deep in her feelings about that. Um, but Quinton confronted her like, well, you felt away when Morier put you in a box, but you put me in a box. And you're feeling prejudged and feel like they all do what she did, but she got the backlash. And I don't know, it's just cringe, like I said, because you don't have any proof or examples of Quinton doing this. You're just going based off a hunch, and it should have remained kitchen table talk. And they're going back and forth, and here goes Tommy speaking in cliches once again. Black people are not monolithic. Love comes in all shades. We should all love one another. Tommy, what did that have to do with anything? Like, please, like, oh my goodness, they would have did so much better just not having a host at all and letting people duke it out on their own. Imagine being Black and deemed not Black enough. I have to laugh. It was just, I feel like he should have just left that alone, to be honest. Well, what exactly made her think he only dates white women? Exactly, unless you have some sort of receipts or behavior that he's exhibited to back that up, like you had no reason to say that. Anywho, let's move on to the love triangle of Quinton, Janelle, and Lee. It was funny because when they were playing the playbacks of Quinton and Lee flirting with each other, Janelle seemed very pressed, and she always claims that the women are jealous of her, pressed about her, but she always feels like the woman that is truly pressed when it comes to Quinton talking to anyone else, because you always have to hover and you always have to make sure that you're in the background somewhere. You have to make your presence known. because clearly you don't feel solid with where you stand with him, or something, or you don't feel insecure within yourself, because once again, it feels like projection. Um, he lamented on and on about how hard it was to juggle these women. Lee said it was hard for him to mingle when Janelle was around because she was making it uncomfortable. Janelle has to continue with her combative streak and claim that she wasn't. Can Quinton not speak up for himself? Like, she was doing a lot of talking for Quinton on this segment. He said that he didn't feel like Janelle was getting in the way. Of course you're going to say that. Of course you're going to say that. Lee at some point said, I don't want to go back and forth with someone who is not aware of themselves, because Janelle, she's never going to admit any sort of wrongdoing or where she could have possibly been wrong, and or where someone else could be possibly be right in a situation. So I love that Janelle just dismiss them both at a certain point. And I feel like she handled Janelle the best out of all the women. She was calm, cool, collected, not letting Janelle rattle her, and but still being firm in her opinion and not letting her just run all over this situation. And once again, Tommy did not hold Janelle accountable. I don't know why I keep saying that. Y'all already know Tommy handled this reunion poorly. So finally, Quinton and Janelle come out and say that they're still together. But after the show, they hit some bumps in the road, and I wonder, are those bumps in the road Janelle's attitude and her controlling nature, and the fact that Quinton is an attention seeker as well as a bit immature when it comes to relationships. I wonder if that's what it was. We already know y'all wasn't gonna make it because y'all have a huge deal breaker. Janelle doesn't want to carry children, and Quinton wants biological children. So I feel like that's a huge deal breaker within itself. Even if even if y'all's personalities wasn't what they are. Um I personally feel like they decided to have a little alliance till the end. But we do know that today, current day, Quinn and Janelle are no longer together. And who's shocked by that? No one. Um anyway, you guys, there is going to be a new show airing, and it features some of the past contestants from Ready to Love. I don't know why Zadia is one of those people. That was one of the more questionable picks. But yes, let me know if y'all want me to review that. I'm probably not gonna review that. I'm kind of over Ready to Love right now. If I watch the show and it's interesting enough, maybe I might add it to the roster. But yeah, I don't know. Ready to Love really fell off after freaking Frag and David, Mr. Get Thee Behind Me, Satan. It did. It did. It's like it drug on. Like, the reunions usually are the more entertaining episodes of a season. And these, to me, there was no resolution, you know? But y'all let me know what y'all think down below. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you check out the videos I just posted right before this one. My Ready to Love, not Ready to Love, my Love is Blind review. Make sure you check that out. And also, I did a video on Tamar Braxton's breakup with JR. If y'all didn't know, they met up on the show Queen's Court that I also reviewed. And so I went ahead and did a video about their breakup as well. Um, Apparently the girls are raving about the Golden Bachelor. Yeah, I actually have seen a couple of episodes. I was talking about that earlier. I actually think it's very cute. I think it's very cute to see older people um mixing, mingling, and looking for love again. It was actually refreshing. And I was just telling one of my friends the other day when I was watching it, it was cute because one of the ladies was saying how, she met her husband when she was 18. And so she was married to him for years and years and years until he passed. And so this is her like second chance at love. And it's like, you don't think about stuff like that, but they're there are people in this world that are like 60 and 70 that aren't that experienced, that might only have one love in their life or have only dated or married one person in their life. And so they're at this age late in the game and this is their first time dating. And so it's just interesting to see their different stories and how that plays out. It is a very cute little show. I'm not like just waiting for it every week, but it is something cute to watch in the background. I feel like Janelle has the same blood contract with Own the Ways the Lachey's have with Netflix. I wouldn't be surprised because even though like we saw her being combative with the other women, it's like Tommy refused to acknowledge it. It was so weird. This was my first season watching Ready to Love, which are the good seasons. Check out the first, I want to say 2 or 3 for sure are the best ones to me. And then it just keeps getting worse and worse from there. But the first 2 or 3 are really, really good. Especially the resort. I feel like the resort version of Ready to Love was the best one. They need to go back to that format of doing like a resort. I think that was a great premise because it kept everything out there on the table. And I feel like there was more I feel like it was more, what's the word I'm looking for? It just I don't know. It was just better. It just gave, y'all. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the live here. I didn't want to stay on here for too long. But I will see y'all in my next one. Shout out to everyone that showed up, and I will see you later. Bye.